So the Thompsons, Marjorie and John, I think they are an interesting parallel to Gikonyo and Mumbi because they are likewise a couple who are fragmented, are broken. We get both of their internal narratives and we kind of see how much they are drifted apart, how they kind of remember times when they were close, how they think of things that they could say to each other and then ultimately don't say them. And they're, I mean, these are the kind of the two white British characters in this novel. They are shown, kind of their ignorance is shown, so particularly with Marjorie, we see at the beginning, Karanja is sent round to the house with an errand and with a letter, and she sort of invites him in and kind of flirts with him a little bit and enjoys the power that she has as an attractive woman over this man. But also we kind of see, you know, she asks, I've put up the question then where she says, oh, how many wives have you? And then I sort of goes, oh, I thought all you people had lots of wives. Are you going to buy wives? And she clearly doesn't have a proper understanding of the culture that she is living so incredibly close to. And then we see John Thompson through his own eyes, and again, you have the vision of the British Empire. Chapter 5, page 52 here is really striking, and it references kind of Kipling and where he got these ideas. You know, what he kind of hopes, what he hopes the British Empire can do. And he meets these kind of these two African students, and he sees them basically as civilized Europeans, basically. You know, they talk literature and history, and they're enthusiastic about the British mission of the world. You know, two Africans who in dress, in speech, and intellectual power were no different from the British. And he sees this as a fantastic thing. Of course, missing the point that they're only like him. And then, you know, the irrationality, inconsistency, and superstition of characteristics of the African and Oriental races. In one, we have African and Oriental all combined into one big thing there, because this is just his idea of other. This is the kind of the Orientalism that he just said, well, if we wipe this out, what a magnificent thing to make everybody British. And, you know, he has this line, my heart was filled with joy. This kind of letter kind of, you know, situates him in the ideology of the empire. And we also see him as a fallen man. He's a fallen man already. Someone who doesn't, you know, his engagement with Africa is non-existent. All he kind of wants is to kind of, he has a noble vision in some senses, you know, that what, you know, he is not there out of cruelty, but he is there absolutely out of ignorance. And an interesting example here, you know, we talk about his career, how he kind of rises through the ranks, and then at Rira, this is the quote on the slide, the tragedy of his life occurred. A hunger strike, a little beating, and 11 detainees died. This is the tragedy of his life, that this hunger strike happens, the beating happens, and these 11 detainees die, and this is a great shock, and you know, sort of these terrible people, how they have ruined his career. You know, nothing about the lives lost, nothing about questioning the fact that they were detaining people at all. So he's really shown as somebody who is removed from the reality and has no real understanding of the condition of the Kenyans themselves. And interesting to contrast him with Karanja, who we have a slide on Karanja, the next slide. Karanja works for the Home Guard, as we have said, and he is someone who is kind of, he is out for himself, which I think in a way aligns him with Mugo, but he is someone who will betray what other people are fighting for, what other people's lives are, in order to do that. In the way that Mugo is very kind of isolated and doesn't want to betray anyone and is just trying to keep himself to himself and keep minimal. Karanja sees the strength of the British and goes, look, just go with them. They have more power than us. Just going to lean back. And it's interesting looking at Thompson through Karanja's eyes and Karanja through Thompson's eyes, because Karanja hardly exists through Thompson's eyes. When he kind of comes in, he's just, oh gosh, Thompson has to deal with him now. Whereas to Karanja, Thompson is this kind of, okay, this great, respectable figure. And Karanja really hopes that other people, when he goes to Mrs. Thompson, to Marjorie Thompson, he hopes that other people will see him having a coffee with her. And sort of go, oh, you know, this is him, this is raising his status, he feels. So he works for the Home Guard. And he, you know, here's a couple of lines here where he's kind of acknowledging the power he feels the British have. And he says, did you want us all to die in the forest and in detention so that the white man could live here on this land alone? So he's kind of saying, look, there wasn't an option. Okay, great, we should all have been freedom fighters. We should all have gone and died. And then a kind of a line there to really just align him with Mugo. The time will come when you two will know that every man in this world is alone and fight alone to live. There is no community in Karanja. He, right, the first thing that we see with him is him kind of arguing with somebody else that he works with, and then he sort of goes back and apologizes afterwards, with no real there's no real strength of character there. He kind of goes, oh gosh, yeah, you shouldn't argue with people because you always need people on your side. It's not, I like this person, I respect this person. The only person he seems to like is Mumbi, and he kind of seduces her, and then she kind of talks about the seduction and kind of goes, oh, he laughed at her afterwards. That there was a sense he felt he had power because, you know, he had not only seduced her, but he'd also gotten the better of Gikonyo in some way. And Karanja has nothing. I mean, the Karanja has a final chapter as well, which, you know, if you have a look here, it's the third last chapter, I think. Oh, I tell a lie, it's the fourth last chapter. It's page 220 in this copy. So he goes to the Uhuru celebrations and Mugo confesses, so he sort of realizes, oh, he was in danger, but now he's not. But he also realizes that there's no future for him. There's no place for him. He sort of, you know, he goes to see, you know, his mother, and he sort of has to leave, and he takes his guitar with him as this kind of this last remembering who he once was. He used to be a person who played the guitar. He used to be a person who played in the forest, and that is all gone. And when he goes to get the bus, and the man on the bus says, "Oh, you're going to Nairobi. Nairobi's where all the celebrations are, where all the freedom is happening." And no, he's going to Githuma. He's going to the British centre, but the British have all left, and we see the train. This train runs past, the train races past, and he kind of considers his own death. He asks, why is he afraid of dying? You know, the way that Mumbi has kind of saved him from death, yes, but what kind of life is there waiting for him? We don't know what he's going to do now. You know, the train disappeared. You know, the earth. So in this moment, you know, there's the last line of his narrative, which is 227. The train was only a few yards from the crossing. He moved a step forward. So he's waiting at the crossing for the train to go past so that he can continue on his journey. He moves a step forward when he hears the train coming, and there is this suggestion there that maybe he's going to commit suicide. Maybe he's going to step in front of the train, which would kind of be very sort of poetic justice, and the train representing the British power, that he's just going to go and throw his entire life in front of it, going, he's given everything, he's put everything, he's backed that horse, and it hasn't won, and it leaves without him. You know, he doesn't step in front of it, he just takes that step forwards, but then it swished past him. The lights, the engine, the coaches, so close that the wind threw him back. The earth where he stood trembled. When the train disappeared, the silence around him deepened. The night seemed to have grown darker. So the train disappears. The British and all that it symbolizes goes without him, and he is left alone in the darkness with absolutely no place. So what is he going to do? We don't really know. He is not helped by the British that he has helped in all of this time. And right at the very end, I mean, he has another race with Gikonyo, and again is kind of hoping somehow that he is going to win Mumbi, and so in a way he's kind of deluding himself that there is any future in the village, which he has realized by the very end. So that's also we're going to look now at the sense of political progress that we feel happens in the novel. So if we go into the next slide here,